9 minutes to the closing bell. We have a live video feed for you of President Biden talking about the executive order he is about to sign, the Buy American executive order. Our editor-in-chief, Andy Serwer, joins us now. What's he trying to achieve here, Andy? Politics or genuine economic growth?
Well, Adam, I have to say it's a little bit of both. And what this entails is making sure that government contracts are filled with U.S. goods, filled by manufacturers making those goods here in the United States. And the government sources about $600 billion a year of goods. And so this will increase the emphasis on those goods being made in America, apparel in particular, and that would speak to PPE, for instance.
And is this substantially different than what we heard from President Trump? Because we know he focused on America, something that it sounds like he did in the past. I guess, how different is this initiative from Biden from what we heard from President Trump?
Yeah, it's a good question, Shauna, because it does sort of sound like something that President Trump would say, and in fact did say, made in America. And here we have Joe Biden doing a similar thing. And in fact, President Trump did have a program similar to this. But the thinking was, and the complaints have been, there were too many loopholes, sort of what were waivers. In other words, well, you're required to buy American to fulfill this contract. But actually, in this instance, I get a waiver, I get a mulligan here because for this such and such a reason. And so part of the reason for this executive order that I believe you're seeing the president sign right now, live at Yahoo Finance, is to close those loopholes and to make sure that these goods, in fact, are sourced here in the United States.
Hey, Andy, quickly, we've already heard from the Canadians that they're concerned about this. And I guess I'll tell you, there's breaking news that part of what he's announced is they're going to replace the federal government fleet with electric vehicles.
Wow, that's a huge move. And, it speaks to what we've heard in Japan about them going to an all-electric fleet for the entire nation. But, the devil is in the details there, Adam, when it comes to those electric vehicles. Are they all pure EVs? How soon? When? Does that include trucks? But it's a step forward. It'll be interesting to see exactly what that entails. And then as to your Canadians' point, there's always a trade-off. If you insist, for instance, to buy only in the United States, then you're going to be shutting out some of your sourcing from other countries, including some of your best partners. And the Canadians are already sort of a little bit anxious about the Biden administration because of the Keystone Pipeline.
That's interesting. So, Andy, do you think that this could potentially then hurt the U.S.'s relations with its other foreign partners then if they do continue to focus on initiatives similar to this?
I don't think so, Sean. And this gets back to Adam's question. A lot of this is, in fact, politics. And, if you move the needle, say, $100 billion here, it's not going to be the end of the world. To the Chinese, for instance, this is small potatoes. We have a lot of bigger things to keep track of with regard to them and a lot bigger numbers. If we're upsetting the Canadians with regard to, say, one particular manufacturing facility in Ottawa or something, well, that's something that Mr. Trudeau and Mr. Biden are going to have to hash out, right?
Andy Serwer is our editor-in-chief. It was good to see you, Andy. He's also the host of the program Influencers here on Yahoo Finance.